This is Help Wanted, the show that makes your work work for you. I'm Jason Pfeiffer, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine.
And I'm money expert Nicole Lappin. On Tuesdays, Jason and I answer the helpline and help callers solve their work problems.
And on Thursdays, I give you one way to improve your work and build a career or company you love.
And it starts now.
Well, all right, despite what you just heard in the intro sequence, we're switching things up this week. Today, Tuesday, it's just me, and then on Thursday, it's me and Nicole and a very special guest. Exciting. All right, today, I am telling you how to find your next big thing. And here we go. Tell me if this sounds familiar. My friend Kate has achieved many goals. She built a great company and is proud of her accomplishments, but she's also bored. I love what I've built, she told me recently, but I've been doing it for 10 years and it's time for something new. And yet she's stuck. She can't decide what this new phase will be. Why? Well, because of one nagging question she keeps asking herself. It's this: what do I want to do for the next 10 years of my life? That's what she told me. She said, I keep thinking, what do I want to do for the next 10 years of my life? And I can't find anything, she said. And so she's been doing, well, a lot of thinking and not a lot of acting. And this is such a common problem. We want to do something new. You know, often we crave newness, but we aren't sure what that thing is. So we do nothing. You've probably heard advice about this. You know, just try stuff, experiment. Don't worry about the next 10 years. Just worry about tomorrow. But I have a different idea. I actually do think that you should commit to something for the next 10 years, but it's not exactly what you think. Today, I'm going to help you get unstuck. I'm going to help you make a change. I'm going to help you find your next great love and maybe even define the next decade of your life. Before I share my philosophy on how to do this, let me tell you about a related revelation that I had 14 years ago. It was July of 2010. I was about to turn 30 years old, and I was reflecting upon what I had done in my 20s. The 20s I was about to leave. My 20s were going to be over. I mean, remember how shocking that felt? It was an eventful decade, my 20s. I had built the beginnings of my ideal career. I survived a series of relationship blunders. I moved cities, and I ended the decade by getting my dream job at a national magazine and dating a girl that I really liked. And that's when it hit me. My 20s were all about setting things up. And this meant that my 30s would be about maximizing those things, about really executing on those things, doubling down on the career, the relationship, and the life that I had started. And that's really what happened. That is what my 30s were about. So a decade later, as I was about to turn 40, I returned to that thought. By then, I had achieved my goal of maximizing. I was leading a national magazine. I had developed many other business projects. I was married with 2 little kids to that girl I was dating at the end of my 20s. So what would my 40s be about, I wondered. You know, 20s were about setting things up. 30s were about maximizing. What were the 40s? Well, I thought about what mattered to me. And the answer at that point in my life was freedom and autonomy. So I came up with an answer. My 40s will be about doing things on my own terms. I've come to think of these as my themes of life. Every decade gets a theme. It's a loose goal, fulfillable in many ways, and distinct to who I am at the time. You know, we can't guess what life will bring us, and we don't want to set our goals too narrowly. Malcolm Gladwell once told me, self-perceptions are powerfully limiting. If we define ourselves or our goals too narrowly, we'll miss out on all the unexpected opportunities ahead. So this is the first part of my advice to my friend Kate and to you as you try to figure out what's next. If you want to look ahead, do not narrow the path. Just pick the direction. Think about the theme of your next 10 years. Because this idea applies to much more than just age. So it's time to get, well, less specific. Here's an interesting thought experiment. Think of something right now, just, as I'm talking, think of something that's ongoing in your life, and then try to divide it up into themes. So maybe this is your career, maybe it's your company, maybe it's your marriage, whatever. When I say divide it up, I mean, this has been going on a while. You've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, 20 more years. So how would you divide that time up? The first decade, the first 5 years, whatever. How would you divide it up into themes? How are you going to do that? Well, okay, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Number 1, are there distinct periods of time when your goals or actions shifted? Right? Distinct periods of time. So maybe after the first 8 years of doing whatever, there was a shift, and then your goals or actions became different, even though you were still doing the same thing, whatever, again, it is, career, company, marriage, whatever. All right, so number 1, are there distinct periods of time when your goals or actions shifted? Question number 2, can you give those periods of time a name and think of them as a distinct theme? Just like my 20s were setting it up and my 30s were maximizing those things, right? So give those periods of time a name, think of them as a distinct theme. Once they all have a name, now question number 3. Once they all have a name, do you notice a new theme on the horizon? Something maybe you're just at the beginning of right now. I recently did this for my own work, actually. So I'll walk you through it. I became editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine in 2016, which honestly feels like a crazy amount of time ago. And my time there has been broken down into 3 themes. I literally just realized this. Okay, theme number 1, first, for the first year or 2, I just focused on building that brand, helping the brand of Entrepreneur Magazine, Entrepreneur Media evolve in a changing marketplace. Next, I built my own brand, which meant that I was developing my distinct voice and my own distinct audience, pouring energy into podcasts and newsletters and social media and stuff like that. And now I am entering a phase where I am also building other brands. I'm launching new companies and advising others, kind of like the work I do here at Money News Network, parent company of Help Wanted. So again, to review, first, I focused on building that brand. Then I focused on building my own brand. And now I'm focused on building other brands. As I'm doing this, it's the same job. I still have the same job, still have the same title, Editor-in-Chief, Entrepreneur Magazine, the whole time. Same original responsibilities too. Those haven't changed. But, it's not exactly the same because I am not the same person who took this job in 2016. My needs and my interests have evolved, which means that my value and goals evolved too. And by recognizing this, I can be more clear-eyed about the new opportunities that animate me. So what is this for you? What is this shift, this dividing up of time into themes for you? And how can you use this thinking to plan your next phase? It's time to think about it. What's your next big theme? Well, all right, everything that I just told you, I told all that to Kate, my friend who is looking for her next big thing. And then I asked her a question, which really I'm asking you too. I said, don't think about a specific project that you want to do for the next 10 years. Instead, what's a theme that you want for your next 10 years? That prompted a really interesting conversation. Kate thought about what frustrates and excites her these days. She is an exhausted solopreneur, so maybe now she's ready for a quote-unquote decade of collaboration. Or also, she recently discovered a love of teaching, so maybe she's ready for a quote-unquote decade of guiding others. We were speaking in Kate's car. I was in her city for a speaking engagement, and she was just driving me back to my hotel after we'd had dinner. And, she wasn't going to answer these questions in full that night, but that's fine. The point isn't to have easy answers. The point is to start recognizing patterns. Your life is not a random series of events. It is an evolution. You strive for one thing, which inspires another, which inspires and evolves into yet another. You are 1, then you are 2, then you are 3, and onward. It's okay for these things to change. It's okay to want something and then not to want it in the same way anymore. It's okay to achieve something and then set off to achieve something else. Find the theme for this phase of your life. Move with curiosity towards the next. That's it. That's how to define what comes next. And as you may know, if you listen to Help Wanted regularly, that comes from my newsletter. It's called One Thing Better. Each week, I write something just like that, one way to be more successful and satisfied and build a career or company that you love. You can find it at my newsletter, which is onethingbetter.email. That's a web address, onethingbetter.email. Just plug it into a browser, onethingbetter.email. Or you can just wait here at Help Wanted, where a few weeks after they come out in the newsletter, I read them to you in your ears. Either way, I'm glad you're here with me as I build this next phase, this next theme of my own work. Help Wanted is a production of Money News Network. Help Wanted is hosted by me, Jason Pfeiffer.
And me, Nicole Lappin. Our executive producer is Morgan Lavoie. If you want some help, email our helpline at helpwanted@moneynewsnetwork.com for the chance to have some of your questions answered on the show. And follow us on Instagram at Money News and TikTok at Money News Network for exclusive content and to see our beautiful faces. Maybe a little dance.
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
All right, well, talk to you soon.